Because you also have to think about this, and that's a great point you just made. Because when you leave a job, you leave that you lose that seniority that you had at that
Yep.
place.
Yep.
So that could factor into if you have a PTO plan. You can
Yep.
factor into that. You may not even look at the PTO plans and how they differ from job to job. You could leave a job that could not the pay may not necessarily be good, but they have other perks, incentives, like we just spoke to, that you're not factoring in
Yep.
as well.
Welcome back, folks. This is episode 29 of It's About Your Paycheck. We're going to talk about some candid conversations today, just some different topics that will get a full, some current events, and we're just going to get
Yeah,
into it more free flowing today. But before we get into all of these things, what is going on, Walter? How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Brian. Just in a state of gratefulness, man. And
I noticed that. I
yeah,
appreciate that shit because we were talking, and you like, yo, you always make a comment like in the last few weeks. You just been making that part of the conversation, and that's just much appreciated.
yeah, man. Likewise, no, because it's iron sharpens iron. What the dynamic
Yes,
of that relationship is, you've done that for me. There's little
no
things,
doubt,
little nuggets that you say,
no
whether it's
doubt. Thank you, thank
from
you.
in the lane of gratitude or in the lane of hey, chin up, get up,
Yeah, yeah,
don't stay down, like whatever it is, right? You gotta be able to take those things, and you need that. You need those. I find myself needing that, and I think
yeah,
other people need that. You need that. Our
yeah. Heck
families
yeah.
need that. Other
Yep.
people out there, because people are struggling, man. And I was driving around the other day. Like I said, I just moved to Georgia, the Atlanta area, Metro Atlanta, and it there's a lot of people struggling, bro. I see black, white, brown out there
Yeah.
standing out there holding their signs saying, "Hey, $10 car wash. I'll do this. I'll do that. Just trying to feed
Wow.
my family."
Wow.
And it's just a lot of people are struggling, bro. Like when we say that 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, who knows? These people will probably work jobs and still have to go do this type of things, or
It could
whatever,
be.
to try to make ends meet. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? So that's why I'm just trying to be in this state of gratitude, because people's lives can
Yeah.
change in an instant. Somebody can make a decision at
True.
the job that may impact you or impact me. You know what I'm saying? Like they like people are being laid off every day. So we
Yep.
just have to be grateful for the positions that we're in, because things could be different for a lot of us, man.
Yeah.
This is
No,
just
you're
my
right.
opinion. I'm just,
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was just in on the West Coast in California, San Francisco, San Jose area,
mm,
and like on my way to the airport leaving, I saw like a lot of people in tents along the highways, just like,
yep,
and I was like, and caught one dude like sweeping out his tent, cleaning up, and just I was like, they're living here, they're living in
yeah,
these tents on the highway, and first thing I thought about for me was like, how do they bathe? How do they get water? How do they clean themselves? I'm not trying to discount it, like, but that's the things that I think about it like right away, because like food you can get, you know what I mean? You can go get some food, I'm sure somehow, some way, but it's like, how can you easily get access to a shower?
yep. Shower, medical care.
Medical, right? But even medical care, right? Because if you think about it, if they're on any type of system, they could walk into a
That's
emergency
true.
room and they could go to a clinic. Where are
That's
you
true.
gonna go take a shower?
That's true.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
bathroom, your bathroom. You're in a
yeah,
tent on the side of the highway. There's no porta potties there.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where are they going to the bathroom? You know what I mean?
Just
Yeah, no doubt. But like that's it is crazy that because that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, just a bathroom shower. Like, how are they doing this, man? I just yeah, you're right, man. It's a struggle. It's a struggle out there right now.
yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We
All right.
have some articles and we're gonna cover for you folks today and just talk through some things that
Yeah,
kind of right on brand Americans are facing the struggles and things like that out there.
yeah,
So you want to start us off with the first one?
yeah. So the first article I have is by thehill.com, HIL, The Hill. And they're talking about how much Americans spend, basically.
Oh, that's a good one.
The state of work report by Owl Labs reveals that 66% of U.S. employees are now back in the office full time, and they spend an average of $51 per day.
Yeah,
Daily
that's a lot.
expenses, yeah, those daily expenses include $16 on lunch, $14 on commuting,
Yep.
13 on breakfast and coffee, and at least
Yep.
8 on parking. And it's
Yep.
and note this: it says employees with pets spend an extra $20 a day. I don't
Wonder
know.
why.
They could have somebody, if you have somebody come through and
Oh,
walk your
to walk your
dog
dog.
or
Yeah,
check
because I was
on
gonna say
them.
boarding is more expensive than that. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe just to check on the dog.
yeah.
Yeah, walk or cat, feed the cat, whatever it is.
So that can add up, right? So when we think
Wow.
about money,
So that's $70 a day with. I'm sorry to cut you
71.
off with
You're right.
folks, or 71 with folks with. That's crazy.
Yeah. So look at this
I'm
next
lucky
stat.
to. Oh,
Look at this next stat. Those working in office 5 days a week spend around $1,020 monthly,
wow.
while hybrid workers spend a little over $400. So think about that. That might be adding to why some of us are struggling,
Of course.
because most of the times we have to get up early because you have that long hour and a half, 2 hour commute, and you get up, so you don't really necessarily have time to prep your lunch because you spend some of your day, your morning driving, and by the time you get home, you're like, hey, I don't want to cook or whatever. I don't have time to meal prep for tomorrow morning, and so then that's why you have to buy the coffee because you're tired anyway, and then you buy the breakfast, and then you buy the lunch, and then you end up having to pay tolls. Most of us, bro, you live in South Florida. There's tolls all in South
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Express lane. There's
Yep.
express lanes in Georgia. You have to
Shoot,
pay
and if you
for the
don't
highway.
have, oh, what they got? What is it? The Peach Pass over there? I
Yeah.
think no,
Something like that.
but it's the Sun Pass here,
Hmm.
and yeah, you have to subscribe because they make it's even more expensive if you don't have the Sun Pass or the Easy Pass. For me in New York, I always think of the Easy Pass, and they make it more. My point is they make it more expensive if you don't have it, so you gotta have to have it. And if
Yes.
not, your traffic could even be longer because you have to avoid the toll
Hmm.
road. Yeah, man. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I just did the quick math and that's clearly like 12 grand a year for the monthly,
Yeah.
or 16.8 if you have like almost $17,000 if you have a pet.
Wow.
$17,000 a year.
And we don't think about that because we think,
No.
oh, I'm only spending 15, $16 on lunch a day. That's not much. Well, that's not bad. But then it adds up. You're doing that 5 days a week.
Yep. Yep.
It adds up. So there was a CEO, Frank Weishaupt, who highlighted the significant increase in office related expense post pandemic. So, for whatever
Exactly.
reason, post pandemic, now we're spending more even when we're back in the office.
The first thing is like prices went up.
That's true.
Like inflation,
Yep.
right? Like you talking post pandemic 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, like four
Oh,
if
it's
we,
going,
or
it's
five
inching towards
if
five.
we're
Yeah.
looking five if we're looking for prior
Yeah.
pre-pandemic, it's 5 years ago. That's a
Mhm.
lot of time for inflation, all the things that the economy went through because of the pandemic, and
Yep.
then oh my
The
gosh.
average rent went up dramatically.
Oh
It's two.
yeah,
The average rent right now is $2,000.
that's crazy. I
Average
was
rent.
just telling somebody, who is it? Well, I forget who I was telling, but I was, oh, my close friend of mine, TP. What up, Terry? Oh, we were talking about the fantasy league, by the way.
Oh,
Oh, he
okay,
wants to
nice.
touch base today. Yeah, yeah. IAP, the show may put out a football fantasy league, y'all, if y'all want to join. Right?
Yep.
Maybe. No, you don't look so excited.
No,
No,
me.
okay, okay.
I'm just reading something. I'm just reading something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
reading
Gotcha,
something.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
So anywho,
absolutely, bro.
we were catching up, shooting a breeze, and I was just like, dude, I was just in New York looking at houses, and then I compared it to here looking at the prices are almost the same. I was like, what
Wow.
prices
In New
actually?
York.
And yes, dude, out in Long Island, not in the city,
Okay.
not apples to oranges, so to speak, but out in the suburb. No, yeah, suburbs of New York, suburbs of South Florida, and it's
Wow.
yeah comparable.
Wow.
Somebody just told me yesterday, we just went out to eat breakfast yesterday, and the waitress told us that their friend had to move back to New York because they couldn't afford to live in South Florida.
What?
What kind of sense does that make?
That's unheard of, man.
But it's because of the pandemic, right? Because all this
Yeah.
wealth shifted, all the money shifted, and now
Hmm.
companies are dinging and taking it and like trying to adjust. And some, right, some companies, what did they do? They're like, oh, we're going to pay you according to where you are then.
Yes.
We're going to change your salary, or
Yep.
you have to come back into the office.
Yep. So they
You know what
do
I
it based
mean?
on your geolocation, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, this is good. This is why we did this show today. It's a candid
Yeah,
conversation.
no
This is
doubt.
exactly
Yeah,
in the flow.
exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then the last point of this article, man, is that because of this, because of more expending in the office, employees are seeking more perks and incentives from their bosses and their jobs
Yep,
and their employers to
yep,
offset these costs, including,
yep,
hey, that's why people want to get paid more. That's why they want to have better work life balance, or they want to find better career opportunities. I think more people now, and I have to find a stat. I don't know a stat, but I feel, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree, but I feel that's why more people are like leaving jobs now because they're like, you know what? I need to find a higher paying opportunity so I can pay my bills.
yeah, yeah.
Some
It's
people,
definitely.
some people may leave some people may leave a good thing to get higher pay. I,
Yep,
bro, I've done that in the past
yeah,
where I left a good situation and because it got hard at sometimes and then more money came and I was struggling because I wasn't budgeting good on my side
yep,
and then another
hmm,
opportunity opened up and then it ended up being like super stressful for me,
yep, yeah.
you know.
Agreed, man. I did it in New York before I moved down to South Florida. I did it because I knew I was moving to South Florida, right? And for a few years, like it was a few years it took for us to make the move.
Hmm.
So in that time frame, and because they scared me, they were like, and they weren't too wrong, meaning just people like, oh, you going to Florida, you're gonna lose half your salary. I was like, dang, what?
What?
Yes, yes.
Well,
Now, and let's talk about it because so I'm scared. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose half my salary.
had
That's
you shook,
crazy.
man.
Yo, shook. So what I did was I was like, all right, let me keep jumping as much as I can to get my salary as high as it can be before I
Uh-huh.
leave, so that if it gets cut in half, it's
Yes.
still something different. So both are true. So anyway, so that I did that then because yeah, and we see the stats all the time, right? If you
Yeah.
stay at a company too long, you're just not going to be able to get the
Yeah, you
increases that you
hit
want
the
unless
ceiling.
you get promoted,
Yeah.
right? Unless you're getting promoted. If you stay in the same position, it's slow growth.
Yep.
And then promotion's not already always guaranteed because of the size of the organization with many factors.
Hmm.
Um just to finish that, both were true. What I learned after I moved, was that it depended on what you did. If you
Mm.
are a professional, if you have an actual career path and something that I don't even know how to just more career built,
Yeah.
then you're not going to lose as much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It will drop a bit, but
Yeah.
not as much. Where I found the half part is on the more low skilled, blue collar,
Okay.
those type of jobs where it's not career, it's just a job, it's just
Mm.
that type of thing. That's where they lost big time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I came down here and there was some jobs $9, $10 an hour.
Yeah, yes, because you also have to think about this, and that's a great point you just made. Because when you leave a job, you leave that you lose that seniority that you had at that
Yep,
place.
yep,
So that could factor into if you have a PTO plan. You can
yep,
factor into that. You may not even look at the PTO plans and how they differ from job to job. You could leave a job that could not the pay may not necessarily be good, but they have other perks, incentives, like we just spoke to, that you're not factoring in
yep,
as well. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And so like those things happen. And I think those things happen in all our careers. And I'm sure they may make a choice. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And I think that's tough now because people have to make choices for their families,
yep,
for themselves. Even if you don't have a
yep,
family and it's just you and you want
yep.
to just take care of your mental well-being, you may have to make a
Yes,
choice.
yes. Yeah, you have to do it for yourself because your job is not going to make that choice for you. They're not going to make the
Most
best
jobs
choice
won't.
for you.
Mm-mm.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly.
No.
You have to make the best choice for you. So yeah, man. And look, it segues into our next content share here. Segues nicely into our partners over at TrakGO,
Yes.
right? Because effective July 1st, 2024, the overtime rules is gonna change. Basically, exempt, non-exempt salary threshold. So
Uh,
for those folks who don't know, right, if you're salaried your salary has to be a minimum. There's a minimum that it has to be for you to be
Hmm.
considered salary as one of the tests in it. Two of them. One of them is salary. So if you make $30,000 a year, you can't even be salary because the minimum this year and previously was 43,888 dollars. It's being increased to $58,656. Now it's good and bad, right? It could mean that you get a bump up to salary and you lose overtime, or it means now that you're overtime eligible if they don't move your salary up.
Hmm.
So it could be a good thing for you, could be a bad thing for you. It all depends on how the company
Depends on where you
manages
fall.
that strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It really does. But be aware of that if you're in that window or kind of range. Some things may change for you come July 1, and then yeah.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If you want to, do you want to finish it off? You want me to?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. As Brian was saying, so what that means is that there are going to be millions of workers that will be required to track their time and attendance. So whether they're new or to the time tracking game or looking to make a change, Time Track Go definitely provides a simply better solution that can have you up and running in a matter of minutes, right? So if you follow the link in our episode notes, you'll also get your first month free. So don't miss out on this opportunity because it is great. Take advantage of the special offer. Use the link in the show notes to start your 14-day trial in the month of June, and you'll qualify for your first month free. So just go to www.timetrackgo. That's TIMETRAK go.com, or call 888-321-9922. Let's go.
Go. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've crafted this episode so right. The segues are just perfect here.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I'll read through this one a bit.
Hmm.
And this is more of why are Americans spending more, right?
Hmm.
And it says Americans have been spending more money than ever before, even while inflation at interest rates are higher. Here are some
Hmm.
of the reasons. Financial technology is known as fintech. This technology has made spending easier and more convenient.
That's
Let's talk about
crazy. Because I never thought about that until I saw this. I was just like, that makes so much sense.
that. So, and for we know, we've been talking about fintech forever here, but for
Hmm.
everyone to get it, right? It goes down. So for most people, where this impacts us is on our phones
Yes.
and in-app purchasing.
Yes.
And when you checking out of some of these shopping carts, how they say, "Oh, don't forget this, don't forget that." Go
Yes.
ahead. What's it gonna
Even
say?
on social media now, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God. Forget about
You
it.
get the
Yeah.
ads. It's like, hey,
TikTok
bro,
shopping.
how many times? Yes, how many? You can buy stuff on Instagram. You can buy stuff. You'll see an ad and be like,
Yes.
oh, you know what? I do need that. I was just talking to Brian about that and it hurt me. And so, hey, you know what?
Yes.
Let me go ahead and buy it now.
This could also be called frictionless purchasing. Like they're removing the friction from you to see something and buy something.
Yes.
And that's the fintech of it
I
all,
love that.
removing that so
Yeah.
that you can buy stuff easily. Crap, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's just that, and it's the little purchases, right? My little one just hit me yesterday for Toka World, and it was like,
What's
oh, but
that?
it's only 99. It's a game, it's an app,
Oh,
it's a
yep.
kids game on the phone,
Yep.
and they get me because, oh, it's only 199, it's only 299, it's only 99 cents, and they just keep having these add-ons.
Yep.
Dude, I look back on it, I've had to have spent over the last year or two about 100 and change just on Toka World.
Yep. Yep.
Doesn't seem like a lot, but they're getting a
Yes,
hundred
bro.
dollars and something from millions and billions of people,
All
right?
games, all these games on the phone that I play,
Yeah,
they have those
yeah,
little, oh, buy this and you get
yep,
ad free. Because, the
yes.
ads are irritating. Like, oh, you know what? So I'll pay $5.99 for that.
Fortnite,
Yes.
they're brilliant because the game is free, but everything is about V-Bucks inside the game. And then
Hmm.
they warp the value of a V-Buck. So now you don't even
Yes.
realize, oh, you're getting how much for this V-Bucks? And not the cheapest package is $8, $9. It's a package of V-Buck coins, and you can't
Hmm.
buy any less than that. You have to put in at least $9. And
Wow.
then that's how they spend, and they're
At
running
least
through it, and they're running
$9.
through it. Yeah. And you got to pay there. really smart. But again, that frictionless purchasing, and then they warp the values of things. So
Hmm.
now you don't realize how much you're spending because, oh, $9 gets you 1,000 V-bucks. Oh wow, yeah, great. Ooh.
It's almost like that subscription model, right? You
It
just
is.
get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
this app, you just keep going,
Yep.
subscribe to a
Yep.
game, so we charge you every
Yep.
month. Just okay,
Yep.
and you just sit it and forget. You could you, and if you're not careful when you delete the game from your app, if you delete it from your phone or whatever, and you have to make
Oh,
sure
that
you
doesn't.
click
Yep.
on manage subscription
That's
because
right. Great call out. Because you just deleted the app. You didn't delete the subscription.
no,
You
no,
didn't stop the subscription.
no,
Well, you're absolutely right. Oh, Facebook Marketplace. That's the one because we've been talking about that one too. That's the largest marketplace in the world.
that's crazy.
Facebook Marketplace. There's like a billion people on Facebook Market.
Mm,
What? These things, they're just making things frictionless, and it's the fintech of it all. The quicker you can buy something, that's
yes, bro.
fintech.
Yes,
That's financial
convenience,
technology
man.
at work. Yep. So another one are emotional triggers. Some
Wow,
emotional triggers that can lead to spending include boredom, celebrations, and job-related stress.
wow.
That
Yep,
yeah, yep, I get it.
yep.
I get it. Another one, what is it? Boogie broke?
Bougie. Mm,
Bougie broke. Some Americans, especially younger people, have given up on saving and investing in the future instead are spending money on pleasure seeking. I think that's a problem for all the ages. Like we've over
yeah,
like as humans, we have that problem is like just wanting the instant satisfaction of things instead of thinking of the future.
yeah.
Another one is doom spending. This may be a way to cope with economic stress and fears. You have some
Hmm.
people stress buy, then YOLO spending. I
You know,
feel like bougie is, I feel like it's the same thing, but let's read it. It
those
says
last
this
three kind of
spending,
go together.
yeah. This spending pattern is characterized by high interest rates, inflation, depleted savings, and big ticket items. Yeah.
So yeah,
YOLO, by the way, means you only live once. YOLO.
so think I could just get paid, and you know what, I don't have the money to go on this vacation. You know what? But shoot, I ain't never been nowhere. You only,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to. It's gonna hurt me when I get back. But you know what? Bump that. I'm gonna go have some fun and post my pictures on IG
On
and
E.
say I had
That's
a good
right. Do it
time,
for the gram.
and nobody
Yep.
knows the struggle that I got to go back to.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's man. What was I gonna say? But yeah, you sacrificing the future for you. Like, you got to balance it out, right? You got to
Hmm.
balance it out. It's cool to YOLO. Yeah, let's do it and do things that because it is true. We only live once. You got to try to balance things out because if you keep pushing it to when I get to this point, then you're never gonna do anything. But at the same time, we got to try to plan for because now what if you do make it to 75, 80, 67 retirement? Like I tell wifey all the time, I was like, I don't want to retire real late. Like I want to enjoy a few years with her traveling and
Yep.
just being young enough to enjoy that and old enough to have saved properly for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't want to have to work until I'm 70, 75,
No,
80
heck
years old,
no.
bro. And
Exactly.
then like retire,
Exactly.
and then like, okay, I got good
That's it.
5, 10 years left, and that's
If
it.
that. Yeah, and if you don't if you don't take care of yourself properly, it'd be quicker than that. There's probably a stat, and this is a good show to try to follow up on it, would be like what happens after retirement. What are the stats for people after retirement? Who's
Yep.
doing what? Because you hear the horror stories of, oh, he retired and then he passed away like a year later because
And,
whatever reason.
and another key point with retirement and why it's so important to for our fellow Americans, even ourselves, to get a handle on our spending and really think about our future is Social Security, man.
Yeah.
Social
Yep.
Security, like it's running out,
Yep. Yep.
and until the
Man, dude, that makes me so angry when we
yes,
say that.
it's running.
Cause yeah, because I'd be so mad if it runs out. You know how much I've been working since I'm 14 years old.
Yep.
Like over 30 years now, I've
Yep.
been contributing to this system. I better get my.
They better do something.
Are you crazy? If you don't know, the Social Security runs out like right when I'm ready to retire, and that's another reason though that I don't want to depend on the
Yes.
Social Security, and it won't be enough. Even though I get it, it won't be enough
Yep. It won't
for me to live the life I live. I might be able to, me and wifey may be able to get a studio somewhere in a retirement
get a
community and
studio
not
and a,
ever
and a
do anything.
hamburger, a studio and a
Yeah, and
hamburger.
exactly a
Mm.
studio and a hamburger worth. But that's not. I want to travel. I want to
Mhm.
go. I want to be able to see my grandkids around the country,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes, bro.
Like, it, so you got
Yeah.
to balance these things out. Like I get the whole bougie broke and doom spending and YOLO spending, but you have to balance it out. The key is balance,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You can't
Yes, sir.
lean too much way. Just to finish this off, in 2023, U.S. consumers spent a record 19 trillion,
In
which is
December. That was in
in
December.
December. Whoa, in December 20. No, just in 1 month.
Yes, bro.
Oh my gosh, which is an increase of 6% from the previous year and a 29% increase from February of 2020. Wow. What?
Isn't that crazy?
But see, inflation has to do with this. That's the thing, right? You're comparing, or not you, they're comparing February of 2020, which was right at the beginning of the pandemic. Honestly, we
Yes.
didn't even, nobody really,
Nobody was prepared.
it was just news. It didn't really
Hmm.
hit because I remember we didn't really go home until March. March of 2020, I went home from work, meaning they sent everybody home remote because of the
Hmm.
pandemic in March of 2020. February of 2020, things were still in the
The
post
beginning.
the
Yep.
pre-pandemic numbers. So now you have post-pandemic numbers that they're comparing it to, and it's a 29% increase. But again, it has something to do with the inflationary impact of that as
Yes,
well.
sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. So, however, some say that Americans are spending more than they earn. Yeah, that's the American way. We
Yeah.
all credit and
Credit,
right. What do we
debt.
say? The poor people work to pay bills, middle class work to pay off their credit cards,
Hmm.
and the rich work to make more money. Like they know the rich are putting their money. And I like the analogy of the rich. They see every dollar as a soldier that needs to go out and make another dollar.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the mentality we have to that we have to work toward. So anywho, for example, one audio engineer in Pittsburgh said that they used to spend $100 a week on groceries, but now spend closer to 200. We have
Double.
this conversation all the time.
Yep.
I remember you said it one day just random, like you came back from the grocery store and you were like, "Yo, used to spend $50 on this same bag, and now it costs me 80 or something." Like I
Yep.
almost remember the numbers exactly
Yes.
you said.
Exactly right.
I was like, "What?" Because it was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, and it's true, Like it's a lot. That's a big increase, and now you have to be more thrifty and
Yep.
y-
Got to think about where you shop at now because certain stores have different prices for stuff. And I used to,
Yep,
I love me some Publix, but I can't shop at Publix for everything. I have to go
all
to
the
Aldi
time.
for some
Yeah,
stuff.
yep.
Got to go
I
to
just went to
Walmart.
Aldi. They got a great pack. They had a great. And it's funny because it was not doom spending, but it was more like had a stressful week. And I was like, I saw it on TikTok,
Hmm.
fintech, right? I
Yes.
didn't buy it online because there's a new Aldi's close to me, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go see if they got this. It was, by the way, that's a free plug for Aldi's, but it was a Grill Master box, so it had different meats in it, and
Yeah, you told me,
steaks, and
man, that sounds good.
it was it was well worth it. If you have an Aldi's, you go get it. And I've been eating the meat all weekend, and it's fine. Like it's good stuff. It's worth it. So just like it was a reward to myself to be able to go get this package and be able to
Mm.
make dinner and stuff for my family. You know what I mean? Like that's what I enjoy. And so it was like on that YOLO spending type of deal after a stressful week or whatever. But yeah, man, and you got to do these things because all those items that I got in this Grill Master box, if I went to Publix, it would have been like 200 and change.
Hmm.
And it was a $60 box from Aldi's.
Yep.
It would have easily been 200 and change for all the meats because it was prime cut steaks and thing like that, and easily been $200.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's we have to be more cost conscious
Yes. Unfortunately.
because between fintech and inflation, our money is running out the door. Oh man. And then again, crafted, and you could take us into this last conversation of why are Americans more depressed?
Yeah, man, because I thought about the mental aspect of it. Brian touched a little bit of that in the points above, but this definitely impacts us and just wanted to really get down to it and have a real conversation about depression amongst Americans. So Gallup.com had an article and saying that depression rates have reached new highs. The number one stat here is that depression rates in the US have reached new highs with 29% of adults, almost 30% of adults reporting a lifetime diagnosis, and 17% reporting current depression or treatment for depression. Rates are rising fastest amongst women, young adults between the age of 18 to 29, black and Hispanic adults. And I can see
Wow.
that. I can see that. I see it in my family. I see it with my friends. I see it in my life. And
Yep.
it's true. I can identify with some of these things. Globally, depression and anxiety rates are also significant, affecting nearly 4 in 10 adults aged 15 or older. They're saying 40% of people globally are experiencing some type of depression or anxiety. It's crazy, man.
What is that? What do you say? 40% globally?
Yeah, globally, depression and anxiety rates are also significant, affecting nearly 4 in 10 adults
That's
ages 15
crazy,
or
man.
older.
Oh, wow, wow.
Everybody's under pressure, bro. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's going, like, a lot of people are going through something. And it might
Oh
be, and
man.
that, it might actually be higher than that, because some people, they're that old school mentality. You just, hey,
Undocumented,
yeah,
yeah.
you just keep your mouth
Yeah.
closed. You keep
This is just a survey.
Yep, this
Yep.
is just a survey. So number four of
Could be bigger.
factors that contribute to that rise is include social isolation, based of this is some kind of thanks to fear of
Yep.
infection. It's still COVID is still going. Now we have this
Right.
thing with the
People
bird
still
flu.
wearing masks.
Now we have this thing with the bird flu going on. You know what I'm saying?
I was saving it. I saw COVID here. I was saving that for when, yup. And no, what scared me about that,
hmm
because the bird flu has always been around,
hmm
but and I guess swine flu is not the nice way to say it. H1N1 was the way they put it. What's scary about this bird flu is that it jumped to humans.
Yes,
When people talk about the bird flu, it was the bird is animals,
those
and swine flu
chickens.
was animals, right?
hmm
Oh wow, and that affects that impact. It's important because it impacts our food supply.
Yeah,
But now, if it's jumping to humans, now we're on a different level. And the conspiracy theorist part of me is
control.
it could be that, or I still feel like they want us in the house more, even though they keep allowing folks to go back to the office. They keep scaring, because remember, the pandemic lasted so long because of the strains that kept coming out, the variants
Yep.
that kept going on,
Yeah.
and that kept people home. It moved some companies to 100% remote. They were like,
hmm
oh, forget it, let's just stay home.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that, so I just feel, wait a minute, you're going to push us back into home again. You're
Yep.
going to push us back into a pandemic state again if this bird flu is really something.
Yep. Yep.
Because people are going to run home again.
It's
And, oh,
crazy.
got to
Yep.
go home.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that's the conspiracy theorist in me. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're good. No,
interrupt.
I get it, bro. No, so there's that fear of infection. There's
Yep.
psychological exhaustion, especially amongst our first responders, our frontline responders that have to deal with this stuff. There's
Yeah.
increased substance abuse. I
Yep.
saw a stat just the other day that it said that more people now partake in weed or marijuana versus
Hmm.
alcohol. So more people are
Oh,
smoking
wow.
than drinking now.
I wonder if that could do with more states making it legal, making it medical.
True, it's true.
So is that it's definitely a variable in there.
And it says and disruptions in mental health services, which was exacerbated by COVID-19 pandemic.
Yep.
So people used to be able to
Wow.
go in and have that face to face, that sit down with someone
Mhm.
and do it over a screen or whatever.
Telemedicine. Yep.
Telemedicine. It
Mhm.
says women and young adults have historically reported higher levels of depression, with the gap widening further due to COVID-19 related factors such as job loss and increased caregiving responsibilities. So, combating these issues requires addressing social isolation, providing support for frontline workers, assuring access to mental health services, and implementing strategies to alleviate loneliness amongst vulnerable populations. So, it seems like a lot of people, even though and that's the strange thing to me, right? We have so much access on our phones. We have so much we can connect with somebody across the world, but more people are lonely because of
Yeah.
this isolation. More people are isolated, and
Yep.
that leads to depression. We as people, I think it's scientifically proven that we're people that are supposed to connect. We're
That's
people that
right.
are supposed to
Yep.
be that congregate and fellowship and stuff like that. And so that's why
Yep.
people. That's why there's that's that depression and feelings.
Mm.
What are you gonna do to spend the time? You're gonna buy stuff. You're gonna do the shopping that
Yep.
we talked about earlier. You're
Yep.
gonna do that YOLO, that doom spending, that
And
the
spending.
bougie
Yep.
spending, bougie broke. So to combat these issues, it's crucial to focus on community support networks, accessible
Yep.
mental health services, strategies to mitigate loneliness and isolation, particularly amongst women, young adults, and people of color. Excuse me, and people of color, and encourage having open conversations about mental health, and provide resources for coping mechanisms that can also be beneficial. There's probably people that we work with that we don't even know that they're feeling like this. They're feeling anxiety. They're feeling that depression, and they're just
Yep.
going on about it day to day at work,
Yeah.
and they're smiling on the camera and Zoom. They're
And no
doing all this
choice.
stuff,
Yeah.
but when they're at home, they're like going through it, man.
Yeah.
They're going through it.
Wow.
That kind of leads us to the safe talk
Like I
question
said,
here.
yeah. Again, you a masterful
Hey,
layout of, and I don't know if you did it on purpose or
I
if it
did
just
not.
happened
It
that
just
way.
happened.
Yeah, and that's how like just the flow of things, how they work out.
Yeah.
Because what our safe talk question is what?
Is the American dream dead?
Ooh, and when I read it, bro, I was like, damn. I, I was like, damn. Well,
It's true.
damn.
This
But
is why I talk, man.
it's I don't know if it's dead, but it's hurting.
Yeah, it's wounded.
It's hurting. It's wounded. Yep.
Hmm.
It's definitely wounded because folks live there. I just had another conversation with a really great leader that I just met, and he was worried about his people being able to buy homes.
Wow.
And they folks with good salaries, but because the cost of living is so high in that area, in his their area, the friction that's there is the down payment. Yeah, you might be able to afford the mortgage, but you can't afford to save up the down payment to get a
Yep.
mortgage.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if it's dead, man, but it's definitely wounded.
Man, honestly, I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way. That it's. I saw something online. It was one of these politicians. I think it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He had a ad on there because he's running for president. He was saying the American dream back in the day was to the point that one salary, one person, or one
Yep.
earner could
Yep.
could provide and supply for their whole family and plan for retirement, buy a home, and do that off of one earner back in the day.
Yep.
And now you can't even do that with multiple earners in the home. You're still
Nope.
living paycheck to paycheck. You're not able to make your rent, or one of your checks just covers your rent, and the rest of your bills. Man, I don't feel like I should have to pay what I pay for my car note and my
Exactly.
insurance collectively are over $1,000 a month for my car, which is not even a. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
But
Like,
when right around that time, I remember when you were buying the average at that time, because I was like, because when you told me, I was like, something's wrong, and I did a little bit of research, and that was the average
yes,
at that time. I was like,
yes,
what?
yes, yes, bro. See, you were good because you see the universe, God is with you because you always buy at the right time. You always seem to move at.
Yeah, it's not on purpose. We were lucky to buy a house before the pandemic, but the cars we got during the pandemic, so those were a little bit more expensive is because of it. But we had no choice. Like our old cars were just dying. They would
Yeah.
like we had no choice. We had to get new vehicles, and they're again not brand new.
Hmm.
They're used cars. I just read an article with somebody who, and I think you might have even sent it to me about saving money, being
Hmm.
frugal.
Yes.
Frugal was in the right,
Hmm.
and what it dude didn't buy any cars that weren't at least 5 years old,
Yep.
and he did have a mileage thing. It had to be under 100,000 miles, but
Yes.
it couldn't be any newer than 5 years old
Yep.
because he understood that the what is it, the value of the car dropped so much in those first few years that it just wasn't worth it.
Yep.
It wasn't worth it. He's like, why am I going to do that? And that's smart. That's really smart. And if you intentionally do it, you probably will get a lot better deals because everybody wants the new whip.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be bougie broke.
She
I
broke.
call that ghetto rich, bougie broke, ghetto
Yeah.
rich. So, but like this whole conversation really wraps up to we have to be more diligent about our money because the finances are we can't wait for the government in the world to fix the financial situation. because if
Mhm.
you do, you're gonna be waiting a while,
Yeah.
right? We have to fix it for
Say that,
ourselves.
man.
We have to fix it for ourselves.
Say that.
We have to go out and create those opportunities, do what we have to do. Maybe it is get two jobs. Maybe it is to do a little side hustle
Yep.
until you make, but it's also saving that money, right? Like that, the article you sent me about being frugal.
Yep.
This person was very leftover driven, right?
Leftover.
There's some people out there who on principle won't eat
Yeah, I
leftovers.
don't do what?
I don't do it. Oh, okay. I
Okay,
guess. Hey,
that lasagna tastes better the second day to me.
ex- yep. That's what my mom says. Now, look. To I get some foods don't carry over well.
Yep,
That's different,
that's
right?
different.
That's not I don't eat leftovers. It's no, you can't really reheat fish that well, or
Mhm.
you can't reheat a ham and cheese sandwich. You know what I mean? There's some
Yes.
things that just don't carry over well.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
different conversation
yeah.
as to, oh, just on principle, I'm not eating leftovers. So that was one of the things he did. Do you remember anything else? I don't remember, but we talk about
It
this a
it
lot.
said
Being
he
frugal.
didn't purchase alcohol. He didn't
No,
drink.
none.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I
Drink.
don't know about that one.
but
'Cause
for him
to him is right.
for you, you can be frugal in other ways, right? So for me,
Right.
I know a big thing for me would be eating out,
Oh, heck,
right?
my household, that we've struggled with that forever. That's our struggle,
Yep,
is eating out. That's it.
yep.
Yeah.
Eating out would be if I could just take that step and just lower it just a
Not.
little bit,
Yeah.
and lower
Exactly.
it to like
Reduce it.
once or twice a month. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I would save so
Yes.
much money.
And folks, here's a great way to figure out, because you probably, for some folks, oh yeah, I want to save money, but I don't even know where to begin. You know where you begin? Start tracking your expenses for 3 months,
Yes,
right? Go 3 months, at least a quarter of the year, 3 months.
yes,
And at the end of those 3 months, look back at everything you spent and categorize it. Okay. And that'll tell you where you're spending your money,
yes.
right? And you will see then, because look, I did this exercise. I do it on more on an annual. I'm not as diligent to do it quarterly,
Yeah, quarterly.
but I track. I know I use very little cash, so all I have to do is pull the digital records and boom,
Hmm.
do a report, run a pivot, and I see where I'm spending my money. But I did this exercise probably 9 or 10 years ago now, and because I was in New York still, we were in a time where we were living with my mom still and saving to come to Florida,
Hmm.
and and it was year end, so I'm doing filing our taxes and stuff like that, and which reminds me, I got to reach out to my CPA. And I found one of the numbers that stood out is we spent like $3,000 at Dunkin' Donuts
In a year,
in a year.
bro, that's what
I
three
want to
hundred
see
dollars.
what it is a day.
A little under $300.
3,000 divided by 365. It's only $8 a day.
That's not bad, but it still adds up, bro.
Exactly, and this is the perfect example. That's only $8.22 a day.
So let
3,000
mm,
divided by 365, because I promise you, we were there every day, sometimes twice a day.
so that's the thing, and that's why I'm glad I'm not a big coffee drinker like that outside because I don't do Starbucks that often. I told somebody the other day, I think it was my girlfriend. I told her I'm a social coffee drinker, like a social
Yes.
Starbucks drinker.
Yeah.
So I don't go to Dunkin' by myself.
It's not like, oh, I gotta go, I
No,
gotta go.
So
Yeah.
I go. Oh, you want? That's what you want? Okay, we'll go. I'll just use my little coffee thing I have here and make myself a cup of coffee if I want it.
And that was my point. We've since cut that out of our lives. We
Okay,
make
good.
coffee at home now,
Yes.
and have ever since we saw that stat. I did the numbers, and
Yeah.
my wife got mad at me at the time. Oh, why you gotta tell me that? But she couldn't let it go, right? So she was like, "All right, so we need to switch to," and we did. We gradually. It took a little while. Maybe it took maybe another year or so,
Is that a
but we
month?
switched.
Eight.
Yep, there you go. $240 a month.
Boom.
There you go. It doesn't sound like a lot per day. $8.
Over two
And
hundred.
that was 9 years ago, 10 years ago, mind you. You know
Oh
what I mean?
wow. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a lot a day, but that's $3,000 a year. You know what I mean? So just little things like that, folks. If you're looking to make a change, if this conversation really has impacted you and you're thinking about it and you're like, wow, dang. just start with that. And if you don't already track your spending, if you here two things before we go is if you spend digitally, then you can pull your reports and just do that at any moment. You
Yep.
don't have to start now and do it later. But if you spend a lot of cash, then you do need to track
Yep.
and give yourself 3 months of spending and tracking, and then look back at it, right? Just build a spreadsheet, build a list, do something, math, just write it, whatever it is to track that spending over 3 months,
Yep.
and then look back at it to see where your spending is. If you spend digitally now, pull a report, pull it all together, run a download from your portal, and
Yep.
then put it in a spreadsheet and kind of, or put it in Google Sheets if that's what you're comfortable with, and look at it there, because
Yep.
that is what will help you. You don't realize, or I had another friend, and I know we need to jump, but I had another friend that he would say, oh, I don't track it because the money comes in, money goes out. Don't think that way, because if you do, then you're never gonna actually be able to save,
Yep.
right? That's a bad excuse,
Yep.
because you'll see you that's my point. You'll see where you're spending, and that
Yep.
Dunkin' Donuts thing, that Starbucks number is gonna jump out at you really high,
It matters.
and that's it matters. And
It
it's
matters.
little, and that's where you're gonna make some serious adjustments, and you can make some serious impact there, so that we could revive the American dream,
Yes, sir.
and give ourselves some power and some control, and yeah,
Mic drop.
opportunity there.
Mic
Yeah,
drop.
exactly. Exactly. So thanks, folks. Thanks for listening. I thought we were going to struggle through this. Oh man, I don't know. But as always, Walt crafted a masterful, produced a masterful session episode, and
We did our thing. We always
yeah,
do our
man.
thing, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So thank you, folks. We love you. Until the next time. Peace.
Peace. Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn, and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok.
Thank you for being part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.